My name is Katie, and I am a Girl Scout from Troop 50139, and I am working on my Girl Scout Silver Award. For my project, I am working with foster care, and I wrote a story called Flying with Tamitha Rosa. Without further ado, in the year 1988, a young girl by the age of 8 named Tamitha Rosa was in her home with her family, covered head to toe in wounds and bruises. It was only the night before that she had been abused and taken advantage of by her parents, though she was used to that dreadful feeling. It wasn't new to me to be broken and torn by people I was supposed to love. Soon enough, I got so used to that feeling that I just assumed it was normal. I assumed it was okay. I assumed that those were what everyone called the good old days, and I was supposed to be happy with how they were. Further on, there was nothing better that I could have wanted or done. By some sort of mistakenly terrifying miracle, my entire life was ripped to shreds in a matter of seconds. I was simply admiring the cuts and scratches and bruises that crawled through my peachy white skin. But before I could even blink, there was a loud thud coming from outside. Then again, thud. Again and again and again. Thud, thud, thud. After a short amount of time, the door was already knocked slightly off one of its hinges and was splayed open with a minor tilt. The redwood rotted door creaked and screeched as it slowly broke off the other hinges and fell to the floor with the bullets knocking back in fearful response. I jumped up so quickly, I was almost as fast as a cheetah during feeding time. A large group of men wearing navy blue uniforms with black uniform pants and gun holsters scoured the building. In the very back of the crowd, there was a sweet-looking woman with short brunette hair bobbed to her slender shoulders and hazel-rimmed eyes. She wasn't nearly as rough and tough as the men in uniform. Instead of searching for who knows what and flipping the house upside down, she gracefully approached me with her hands cupped together like a choir performer and a sincere, yet clearly guilty grin. She handed me a large black trash bag that smelled like it was used by someone before her. I hesitantly reached out my hand and took the smelly black trash bag from her with a questioned look of dismay upon my face. She spoke low and soft, as if she were playing alto limbo with her voice. "Grab all your things, hun. You have 10 minutes. My eyes swelled up with water glistening on my waterline. 10 minutes? I cried out. Well, where are we going? The woman wiped the tears from my cheeks that were starting to glow red. She shook her head ever so slightly in response. I shuddered at the idea of what could possibly be happening. I stood up, my breath slowly becoming an earthquake as realization hit me in the back of the head with a baseball bat. I crept up the stairs, a creak hitting every step. On the way up, I passed 2 men in uniform handcuffing my parents while they had their stomachs bent over the edge of the bed. For a moment, time froze. Everything that was happening simply floated across my view. What did they do? My parents were just taking care of me, so why were they being taken away? I was the one being a bad daughter. I was the one who never listened, so why them? I should be the one being taken away, not them. A man in uniform then brushed my shoulder as he rushed past me. The sudden movement broke me from my trance. I peered up at the clock on the tannish walls and realized I was running out of time. I only had a mere 7 minutes to fill the smelly black trash bag. I sprinted to my room that was across the hall and fiddled with the door handle until the door sprung open. I searched all around my bedroom, throwing random junk and games and toys into the trash bag as I pushed through the mess scattered across the carpeted floors. I flipped through my dresser, tossing in all of my favorite tops and skirts and dresses. I grabbed my last few clean pairs of socks, undergarments, and even my bedazzled belt. I grabbed my toothbrush, toothpaste, and my hairbrush from the sink counter in the bathroom. By now, my bag was barely even halfway full. but slowly was getting too heavy for me to handle. I reached out to grab my stuffed bunny rabbit, but I was interrupted by the door opening abruptly. Walking in was a man in uniform, with the brunette lady following behind. I stared at them in disbelief for what felt like eternity. My head hung lower than the sea level as I forced my stubby legs to move past them. They followed behind me all the way to the car as if I were plotting an escape route in their minds. The woman sat in the driver's seat while the man opened the door for me to sit in the back. Once I was settled, the man shut the door and left. My parents were in the back of his American flag-colored car, waving to me as they drove past menacingly. More than anything, I just wanted to wave back or give them a hug, but I didn't even get to say goodbye. Soon enough, we arrived at a large brick building with a very small parking lot. The lady opened my door for me and grabbed the smelly black, now almost halfway full trash bag out of my hands. We both walked into the building, somewhat hesitantly and gloomily. I sat down on a sofa in the main lobby, while the lady went to the front desk to fill out her papers. As I waited, agonizingly impatient, I scanned my eyes along each and every poster and pamphlet that hung on the bleak brown walls. Each one was different, though most of which revolved around the same concept: foster care. I pondered on the thought that I vaguely already knew. The posters were a reminder of the bomb that just doomed me in not even 20 minutes. After a bit of time, I was escorted to an office with a desk and a single chair on either side. My face felt distorted and distressed, to which I refused to sit down. "Take me home!" I blurted. The woman looked at me with a disgustingly sincere eye. Eventually, I gave in and sat down as the woman eagerly began flipping through papers and asking questions about my personal life, some of which even I couldn't answer. The hours flew by quicker than a bird on a sugar high. It felt kind of nice to have someone take such interest in my life as no one previously had. The feeling was warm and fuzzy, like when a young child wakes up on Christmas morning. I felt loved. By a stranger. What a strange feeling to feel loved by a stranger. The woman complimented me frequently as a form of sympathy. Though the words felt somewhat pitiful, I continued to thank her and move along with the day. Soon enough, the sky was black with a splotch or two of stars, and the woman walked my drowsy legs down a blurred hallway where the lights began to dim. I was tucked into a soft and cozy bed with pastel pink sheets that had 2 peachy pillows leaned against the bedboard. Throughout the night, I struggled enormously to remain at rest as flashes of devastating images continuously walked and mocked my brain. At one point, I could have sworn to see a kind-looking couple standing at the edge of the bed frame, staring at me as if I were their precious long-lost daughter. Every night since then, I saw the same flash of the same situation. I felt the same horrified feeling of how some strangers acted like this was completely normal. I hated how they acted like anything in the scenario was normal. I hated how the new normal was that I would never see my own family again, over a few cuts and bruises that I clearly caused myself. So every night, a different family would appear in front of my eyes. A different family in front of the headboard. A different family staring into my soul. And to my surprise, a different family in front of my future every day. What I only wished would stay a dream is no longer more or less than the devious reality itself.